Hello and welcome to the first portion of the cognitive or intellectual or mental sphere of human experience, which is language. The first subdivision is speaking. This is truly the first skill that we develop. Being talked to while in utero, our tiny unfinished brains begin to soak up the input. Our brains are particularly receptive as children to learning languages. Our ability to communicate is crucial to our survival as social creatures. So, before we even start to develop more analytical or cognitive faculties in our brain, we start packing on speech patterns observed from our environment to be able to work with those around us. Our ability to become really masterful with this depends heavily on opportunities presented to us from others to speak and engage with them. Being socially outgoing and willing to approach people and to go do this is pretty essential, and a lack thereof can be very stunting to our development. Shyness or aversion to social interactions can make things like interpersonal relationships, and even on to public speaking and presenting, very hard. And learning a secondary language would seem a lot easier to grasp after you've learned the first one, but it still really depends on having appropriate practice opportunities and corrections from a native speaker. The incredible diversity of languages spoken all over the world is really miraculous. Luckily, there are great resources out there for learning the more common languages, and hopefully the continued cataloging of endangered ones will prevent them from being totally lost, and we can use the reach of the internet to save them from the brink of extinction, because languages preserve the essential qualities of the culture and regions that they're from. On one hand, there's kind of this future utopian vision of a universal language that we will all default to, like Esperanto, or some technical gadget that will fit in our ear and enable instant translation. But I don't think that we should be too quick to encourage our brains to be lazy in this way. We are fully capable of learning and using multiple languages, and I think it's really good for us, just for the exercise of our brain plasticity and the enrichment of our human experience. So the list of disciplines: linguistics, rhetoric, debate, enunciation, oration, comedy, reporting, poetry recitation, and I'm going to go on to list the world languages in order from the 20 most common or most used in their order, and then on to ones that I just felt like listing. Of course, this is not exhaustive, but any of these would greatly benefit you to learn. Chinese, Spanish, English, Hindi, Arabic, Bengali, Portuguese, Russian, Japanese, Punjabi, Javanese, German, Korean, Telugu or Marathi, Turkish, Tamil, Vietnamese, Urdu, Swahili, Gaelic, Creole, and that can refer to many different languages. Basically, a Creole is an adaptation or combination of a couple different languages and kind of a shortening or local adaptation. Mongolian, Greek, Persian, Hebrew, Polish, Italian, Finnish, and Dutch. The second subdivision of language is writing. We lose a lot of power when we commit words to writing. Without the tone of our voice or body language, it becomes very easy for them to become misconstrued, no matter how masterfully we compose them. Writing is high risk, high reward. It's a way to pass down knowledge to future generations and open things up for interpretation. You never know exactly how it will be received. People could derive a totally different tone and implication, especially in small snippets or quotes. So really dedicating some time and attention to developing an extensive vocabulary and command of writing conventions is really crucial to preventing misunderstanding and preserving the integrity of your ideas. Liberal arts get a pretty bad rap in general with our current educational paradigm. On one hand, we are hounded. Now, what kind of job are you going to be able to get with a degree like that? And on the other hand, from the inside in academia, we are drilled and tested on it like our life depends on it. Remember when we were told, you're not always going to have a calculator in your pocket? Or those pre-spell check days, or memorizing citation methods that we don't even use anymore? We have to be very careful not to let the educational flavor of the week influence us too much or discourage us from learning for the sake of the joy of learning something new and being curious and engaged. The technicalities can really bog this down, and especially with writing, the most important thing is to just do a ton of it. Write everything. There's no limit to our drive capacity. You might as well fill it up. You can always edit or delete, but the number of times that I've wished that I had text-to-speech, some flash of inspiration that's now lost to oblivion, that greatly outweighs the tedium of rereading stuff that was too emo or just badly written. It's not enough to actually ever bust out a recorder or utilize the text-to-speech software, but we're here now, being just a little bit better version of ourselves than we were yesterday, right? In my opinion, recording and video is really the way to go, but I still fully type out all of my scripts for some sadistic reason. I don't know. There doesn't seem to be any visual eye contact difference between when I do and when I don't. So you get to deal with a little bit of formality on these technical videos. And then I also have the transcripts done already if I ever need to do subtitles or anything like that. So maybe that's helpful advice to someone who's struggling with their recording workflow. But overall, I highly recommend getting really fast at typing and writing everything down all the time. It really helps to organize thoughts, and keeping good titles on everything and organizing your folders can save you a ton of time later down the road. Little nug of advice there, but also that sums up the importance of this category and why, even though communication is a social thing that we do, language arts are situated here under the cognitive domain. The list of disciplines for writing are poetry, journalism, creative writing, lyrics, literature, prose, research findings, biography, dissertation, satire, screenplay, scripting, narration, transcription, stenography, translation, personal writing or journaling, blogging, academic, editing, publishing, and technical writing. So that concludes our breakdown on language arts or communication. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.